We've been working on this. This segment we're going to refer to as best practices. Going to just talk to you guys a little bit about some of the things that we feel that are important, things that you should be doing kind of on a daily basis, weekly basis, really to help you with your business. And then Jimmy, the first thing we're just going to be talking about is door knocking. Guys, you hear us talk about door knocking a lot. If you're new on the call, like I said, I know there's a couple of new names that are on here. Guys, remember, when we're talking about door knocking, we're not talking about randomly canvassing neighborhoods, knocking on doors. We are talking about going to someone that has responded to a lead, whether it be direct mail, Facebook, or telemarketing, or any other type of lead that you may have generated. That is what door knocking is. Jimmy, do you want to talk a little bit about door knocking? Like, what are some of your maybe take a couple of minutes and just talk about like what are some of your best practices and tips that you could give when it comes to being proficient at door knocking?
Okay. Well, excuse me. The first thing I just want to say, because I kind of promoted this to a lot of my agents, that Richard Luna was going to be on the call this morning as a guest speaker. And unfortunately, his son had an asthma attack and he had to take him to the emergency room. So for those of you are out there waiting for Richard to come on, you know, we're going to have to reschedule him. But I do have sitting next to me a very experienced door knocker, and his name is Pat Hernandez. And so we might refer to Pat. He's been door knocking with a different industry, but I think when it comes to talking to people, getting the objections, you know, it comes from the experience comes from that same place. But you know, best practices for door knocking, Joe. I highly recommend, you know, that you route out your leads and you know exactly where you're going to go. And you know, we have other webinars that you know can get into detail about that. But once you know where you're going, the beauty about door knocking is that if you're not working a preset appointment, you're not in a rush to get to the next guy, right? So you just take your time. And when you catch somebody at home and you are talking to them, you can actually give them your full attention. You're not distracted with trying to get to another appointment. And you can sit down with them and take the time necessary to do the presentation, answer questions. Maybe, you know, based on the product and their health, you need to do a phone interview. You're not rushed. You have plenty of time to do that. But as far as some, you know, best practices go, the number one thing I can say, if there's anything magical about door knocking, like what's the magic thing that you can do? The hardest door to pass through every day is our own front door. So really, the only thing magic about it is just to get out there and do it. But Joe, I'll turn it back over to you. I don't know if you have any questions or how you want to direct that conversation.
No, man. You're exactly right, dude. You got to get out there and do it. And here's the thing. Here's the thing that will absolutely um, kind of turn it for you, or the light switch will flip on with door knocking, is that having conviction in what you're doing, being confident, being proud of what you do. Don't be scared when you go to the door like, oh my God, what am I going to say when they open the door? Like, are they going to yell at me? When you get it in your heart that you know that this person solicited you, that they requested the information, you're not going to be an annoyance. And that's when your confidence will build, and you should be proud of what you do. And remember, this is important. Delivering this information to the client and getting them covered is life-changing information. Remember, agents, We are the bridge between financial uncertainty and financial certainty. We are that bridge. And another great tip is wear your ID badge. Um, it makes all the difference in the world when you show up and you're knocking on someone's door. And dress, dress professionally. You don't need to wear, don't certainly don't wear a suit, but your appearance needs to be tidy. It needs to be clean, neat, well groomed, and man, sport the Senior Solutions ID badge. It makes all the difference in the world. Um, Trust me.
Joe, the other
Um,
thing I was gonna say, and well, you got mindset and that, but the other thing I was gonna say is smile. If you
yes.
have a huge smile on your face, you're gonna disarm people. And also, when you walk up to the door, don't take your briefcase with you or a bunch of things. When I go door knock, all I have in my hand is the lead. That's it. You don't want
Yep.
them thinking you're a salesperson, right? So only take the lead, smile, and just be relaxed and comfortable. Don't press them. Don't be anxious with them. Just take your time, slow down. And that right there is going to change, the way that they see you because they're used to salespeople trying to talk fast, get in there quick, try to overcome all the objections. They're going to say all these things really fast, and that's going to turn them off. Just take your time, just smile and relax, and when they see that you're there to deliver information that they requested, you're most likely going to be invited into the home, or maybe you did catch them at a bad time. You can reschedule to come back and meet them at a better time. But go ahead, Joe.
It's a proven fact that people are more likely to do business with people that they like. They're more likely to like you if you smile. Okay. So even if you're self-conscious about your smile, even if you think you got bad teeth and you don't have a nice smile, smile. Show your teeth, man, when you smile. It makes all the difference in the world. Mindset and attitude to me kind of goes back to what we're talking about being confident. I'm extremely confident when I go to the door to door knock because I know that they requested the information, and at the end of the day, I'm just doing my job. Like my job in a nutshell is to deliver the information in which they requested to educate them. Okay. I can't do that if I can't get a hold of them. If they're not answering the phone, you got to take it to the street and you got to door knock. That's the whole thing about mindset and attitude. You got to have a great attitude. You got to have a positive mindset. And remember, never in the back of your mind do you ever want to think um, that you're intruding, that you're being a nuisance. Guys, get that out of your head, man. I kind of always think to myself as like I'm their savior. I'm the guy that's going to be bringing a check to their family when there's a passing to save them from that financial burden. And think of it this way: what if you had a crystal ball? What if you had a crystal ball that you could look into, and you could see the next door knock that you're going to do, that person's going to pass away in 3 months from now, okay, from an unexpected heart attack? If you knew that, how hard, how much conviction would you have in your heart to make sure that you deliver that information to them? That's why you got to treat everybody that you go see. And then once you get the right mindset and the attitude, man, I promise you, this business is a whole lot easier. The business is a whole lot easier when you do it from your heart and not from your brain. So think from your heart. And this is a more of an emotional business than it is a logical business, for darn sure. Um, Anything? That's it. I got for mindset and attitude. If you don't have anything to add, I'll move on to the next slide.
Go ahead, Joe.
Okay. Let's talk about what kind of leads that we work. Jimmy, what kind of leads do you currently work?
All of them. Well, I mean, direct mail. I'm good on direct mail, but all of
Okay,
them,
so
whether it's
But
Whether it's an old one, new one, it doesn't matter if it's direct mail. That's what I work.
you're currently working direct mail, no Facebook, no telemarketing, right?
Correct.
Got it. Okay. Um, Guys, at the end of the day, man, the direct mail is the bread and butter of what we do. Facebook leads, telemarketing leads, a great way to supplement your lead order and have fill-in leads. But man, if I could only choose one lead at the end of the day, it would definitely be uh, direct mail. I'm gonna keep pushing direct mail, Jimmy, until it's illegal, until they tell us we can't mail anymore, which I don't think will ever happen. I mean, that's you think about how much direct mail supports the economy, um, with the postal service and printers, and I mean, you think about all the jobs in America that are surrounding about direct mail. Don't think it's going anywhere soon. We do have quite a few agents that are doing well on Facebook leads. They're starting to catch on. The only big thing about Facebook leads, the only thing that is that I would have about negative on Facebook leads is, geographically speaking, is that they're usually all over the place. With direct mail, if you're in a big enough area, sometimes we can even narrow it down to zip codes. Generally speaking, it's counties. We can mail to a specific county, which is keeping you in a little bit of a tighter group. Facebook leads can be up to a 50-mile radius one way or the other. So that could be, 50 miles. If you have a lead 50 miles to the north, 50 miles to the south, that's 100 miles in between leads. That would be worst case scenario, but that potentially could happen on a Facebook lead. So we definitely recommend working direct mail, whether they be the old leads or the new leads. I would say this is that, in my opinion, you're not going to make a living trying to work off of $2.71 B leads. You definitely got to have the fresh leads coming in. The great thing about ordering the direct mail is, man, once you build your inventory, you're basically building your own inventory of B leads. Jimmy, I'm sure you probably have hundreds, if not thousands, of old leads in the San Antonio area, correct?
I do.
So it's like, well, the beauty of that is that you've got your own, you can go into your CRM and you can pull up leads from, 3 years ago and go rework your own B leads, and they're free.
Yeah,
Um,
buddy.
yeah, absolutely. Guys, so if you do have any questions about leads, but as far as best practices go, you I mean, there's only two ways to get a prospect. You either generate the prospect organically, or you're purchasing a lead. Okay, that's really the only two ways that you can get leads. Um, my recommendation is work and get as many leads organically as possible, but typically it's not enough. At some point in time, if you're running a business, you're going to need to spend money in marketing and advertising, and that's what lead generation will do for you. Pretty cool, instant generation.
Joe, can you tell by who's attending? Do we have very many agents that been on the call for, let's say, a year or more?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, let me just throw a quick tip out there. You know, for me, my favorite lead is not direct mail. My favorite lead is my own customer. And if you've been in business for more than a year, this is a gold mine if you really work it. And if you haven't worked it, I got to encourage you. All you got to do is go back in and contact the people that have already bought from you, and go back in and do a policy review. And what happens is, when you go back in, these people are already on the books. They already know you. They know you're legit. They know how everything works. You're touching base with them. And in many cases, almost every time I do a policy review, I get another sell. And I either get like more coverage on the insured, or I get their spouse, or I get somebody else in the family. But like I'm saying, it's probably like 80% of the time I'm gonna get another sell. If I don't get a sell, at least I touch base with them. They're more likely to, continue to stay on the books because they know I care about them and I, call them, talk to them. So guys, if you've been in business for more than a year, go back and revisit those people you wrote last year, same month. That's what I do every month. A year ago, I'm gonna go revisit. So I just like right now is May. Everybody I wrote in May, the last 4 years, I try to get them on to do a policy review. That's easy money. So.
Yeah, dude, that's brilliant. Absolutely, man. Huge. Jimmy, what do you do when you're having a bad day?
Keep going. You know, I'm glad you brought that up because, there's been times where I've been out door knocking as an example, and maybe I'm having a bad day because nobody's answering the door, or maybe the people that I talked to, I didn't get in to do a presentation, I got rejected. Believe it or not, I get rejected too, and sometimes I have those bad days and, nothing's happening. And it could be early, it could be 1 o'clock, it could be 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's just natural. We don't like rejection. It's natural to say, you know what, I'm having a bad day, I'm going to go home, I'm going to relax, and then I'll start again tomorrow. And that's really the wrong thing to do. What you want to do is just keep going. you know uh, if you made it through, let's say you set 20 leads to go door knock today and you got through all 20, that tells me that you didn't get a hold of very many people. So that means all you got to do is circle back and start all over again and start door knocking again. Just circle back and just start all over again. And you'll be surprised that you'll start catching people at home. And then if you do that, what's going to happen is you'll pull out one or two or sometimes more apps at the end of the day, and it makes you feel so good. I mean, it pays off to work hard and then get rewarded, rather than going home feeling defeated. And then the next day you don't want to get out there. So maybe the next day, because you went home early, you're thinking, oh well, maybe I'll start late. So now instead of starting early, you're starting late and you're cutting your day in half. I mean, you just got to keep plugging away and keep going. Just have the mindset that you're going to finish the day out strong. Depending on what's going on your schedule. Like if you start with the schedule and you scheduled yourself to work till 6, then work till 6. Or if you said, I'm going to work till it gets dark, well, work till it gets dark. Don't go home early. Just keep plugging away.
Awesome. What keeps me going when I'm having a bad day is the confidence to know that this is a predictable business. Okay. Knowing my numbers is what gives me confidence to keep going, and being able to look back on my accountability sheets and know that every time I do a door knock, whether they answer or not, it's worth $50. That's what kind of keeps me going. And when I'm having a crap day, I just keep remembering. I just keep saying to myself, Joe, keep doing the right thing for long enough, and good things will happen. Joe, keep doing the right things for long enough, good things will happen. And just keep going, and know that for on average every 10 door knocks that I do, I'm going to write a policy, regardless of their home, if they're home or not. So if I had, you know 10 doors and I get nobody at home, then I just know that the odds are in my favor. So I mean, I keep going. And then Jimmy, how many times, this is another thing that really pumps me up. How many times has it been where you just kept going? You say, one more door knock, one more door knock, one more door knock, and then finally, 7 o'clock at night or whatever it is, you get that family at home and you write 5 or 6 policies, or you write the one big one.
Can
Guys,
can
it
I tell
happens all the time.
can I tell a success story, Joe?
Yeah, of course.
Does the young lady Amina sound familiar to you?
Yeah, I love Amina.
So, on a Friday, Amina went out door knocking, and she starts early. She starts at 8 o'clock, and she is very diligent and disciplined to just keep door knocking. At 5:30, she kept checking in with me. At 5:30, she was so frustrated. She said, "Jimmy, I'm getting rejected, or nobody's home." She goes, "I got this one lady that I've talked to her 3 times and I've never gotten in, but she keeps saying that she's interested. It's just not a good time." I said, "Go back out there. Just go back to that lady's house. It's 5:30 on a Friday, right? I'm already at home having cocktails, relaxing with the family." And I felt bad because I'm telling her, keep going, right? And I pushed her to go. And, she went and knocked on that door at 6 o'clock, right? I get a call at 8 o'clock, and she says, "Jimmy, I got in. I'm doing the presentation. I'm here at the house, and I need to answer. This is the scenario on the health, da 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 da." And so I was like, "Wow, she's still there at 8 o'clock. She's still plugging away." So then she calls me back at 9, and she was working on her third application, right? And what ended up happening, to make a long story short, is this lady who finally let her in had some out of town family guests staying over. And when she walked out of there that night, she walked out of that house with 5 applications. It was for over $3,000 in annual premium. And it gets better. They were having a family reunion the next day, Saturday, at a park. So they invited Amina to go to the park. So she went the next day to the reunion, hung out with the family, had barbecue, and just got to meet everybody. And then she ended up writing, I think it was like 15 or 16 more applications. She wrote 21 applications from that one door knock in
Yeah.
one weekend. It was just amazing. And so you never know what that next door knock holds. And had she given up, she maybe she would have gotten that lady down the road, but she would have missed out on all the family that was there. So just keep going.
Yeah, that's a huge, I mean, you just never know, you know? Hey, Jimmy, I got a real quick question for you about the DNA cancer screening. Is that available in all states, including California?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, awesome. That's what I thought. All right, guys, man, when you got to have a bad day, man, suck it up and shake it off. Keep going. That's the motto right there, because you never know. Um, Jimmy, you want to talk about what is your as a full-time producer, man? What does your week look like?
Well, the best way I can answer this is that you gotta schedule yourself to work just like if you were working for the man. I mean, what do I mean by that? Almost everybody that's on this call has worked for somebody else. And when you had that W-2 job, your employer gave you a schedule. And if that schedule was from 8 to 5, or maybe it was 10 to 9, or whatever your schedule was, you didn't have a choice. That was the time that you had to be there, right? And you had to work all day. You couldn't just call it an early day at will when you wanted to, right? So treat your own business the same way. And so you want to start your day early. And I typically I'm starting mine about 9 a.m. because I need to get the kids off to school, and I'm gonna work till 6 o'clock. That's my day. So if I don't have a good day, I don't go home early. I keep working till 6. Now, there's days that I work beyond that. Maybe I have a late, sit or something like that. Or maybe I'm doing a presentation or something. Then I'll work in the evenings as well, but I'm not going to go home prior to the 6 o'clock.
Beautiful. Um, I have a saying, and it's this: you're either scheduled or you're unscheduled. Have a schedule. Successful people work on timelines. Successful people work on a schedule. They don't wing it. So, um, Start with a paper calendar, progress it to an electronic calendar, or potentially do a combination of both. I kind of like doing a combination of both. I have like using a paper calendar and a Google. I've got two different Google calendars that I use that kind of that work together. But guys, be organized, man. Have your be a professional. Let's see what we got next. Objections at the or objection at the door. I guess there's only one. Forgot to put an S in there. Um, let's talk about objections at the door, man. What are the most common objections that you get?
Um, Most common one I get is I can't afford anything right now. I don't want to. I can't buy anything today.
Yeah.
I get I thought somebody was going to send me something in the mail. Um, what is this about? Oh, this is life insurance. I have life insurance already. Um, those are pretty much it. Or maybe it's just a bad time.
Right. Now, here's one thing about the life insurance, guys. You won't get the objection, I already have life insurance, if you don't use the word life insurance. That will keep, I can overcome that objection pretty easy, Jimmy. If I'm knocking at the door and I hand you the card, and my door knock script is pretty simple, guys. Hi Jimmy, Joe Johnson, Senior Benefits. I'm actually the agent that oversees your area. You had actually sent this card in. I hand them the card. The good news, Jimmy, is that you've already been pre-qualified. I'm here just to help with the enrollment process. May I come in? Okay. If you keep the script at the door simple, it will help eliminate um, objections. Jimmy comes back and says to me, "Oh, is this life insurance?" I will answer this way. Well, Jimmy, let me tell you this. Most of the people that respond to this card tell me their main concern is that they just want to make sure is that when they do pass away, they're not leaving their family with a financial burden. Was that your concern? Yes, that was my concern. Well, that's the reason why I'm here today, Jimmy, is to provide you with the information in which you did request, and help with the enrollment process. Again, I'm going to ask, may I come in? They usually will get over the objection about life insurance. If they're persistent, well, if this is life insurance, I already have life insurance. Yeah, Jimmy, I can tell you this, most of the people that enroll in this program already have life insurance. And honestly, we assume that you already have life insurance. This form is to specifically take care of the final expenses. Guys, you got to remember that typically the lead cards that we're working are, only a few days old, or maybe they're a week old or a month old. They had that life insurance plan in place before they sent the card in. So it's really not, think of it this way. When someone says, I already have life insurance, don't think of it as an objection, but just a statement. Okay, no problem. Yeah, Jimmy, we figured you did already have life insurance. My job is to explain how these programs work, answer any of your questions, and get out of your hair. Fair enough? Yeah, sure. Great. May I come in?
Hey, Joe, the other thing I wanted to say, there's two objections that people give me that I totally get excited about. And
Oh, yeah. Okay.
the first one is when they say I cannot afford anything.
Oh, right. Exactly.
Don't let that deter you. I see agents feel so defeated, like, oh man, I wasted my lead. This was a waste. What I've come to learn, and this is taking some time, but I've come to learn that the people that tell you that, they know that they're easily sold. So that is in their mind, their only defense right up front to deter you is to say you can't afford anything. And that way you can just walk away with your tail between your legs. I get excited because I know that I'm going to knock that one out of the park. All right. So it's just a mindset. The other one I like is when they say, I already have insurance. Why do I like it? Because I call those people insurance people. Insurance people already know that they need to set it up on a bank draft. Insurance people already know how everything works. It's just a matter of getting them more coverage. And the other thing is, when they already have insurance, once I'm in the house, I'm sitting down with them, I'm pulling out their policy and I'm getting strategic. And in many cases, I'm finding ways to either replace a policy or increase their coverage or go with a different angle, just depending on what they have. But so many people that we see that say, oh, I'm already covered, I already have that taken care of. They have a term policy that expires almost in every case. And you can position what they're already paying. So if they're already making a $30 payment or a $50 payment or a $100 payment, whatever they're already paying, you can just guarantee that you already got that. That's in the bag. Plus, sometimes you can add a little extra, see, because they're already used to that payment. So that's why I love that they say they already have coverage. So just get excited about it. Just learn how to get in. The other thing I tell people is I say, look, I'm not here to try to sell you something that you don't need. My job is simply to provide the information that you requested. May I come in? And that usually gets me in the door.
Yep. Absolutely, dude. And remember, guys, always never be confrontational when it comes to an objection. Someone says, I already have insurance. Don't start grilling them on what kind of insurance they have at the door. Congratulate them. Say, yeah, Mrs. Smith, we assume that you already have life insurance. Someone says, I'm broke. I can't afford anything. Jimmy, I knew you were broke before I got here. That's why I'm here. Let's face it, if you were rich, you wouldn't have mailed the card in. And he's going to chuckle. My job is just to provide you the information which you request. It takes me 5 minutes. Let me show you how the programs work. I'll answer your questions and get out of your hair. Fair enough? Like it's no big deal. But I agree with Jimmy, man. The people that say I already have life insurance, or how much is this going to cost me? Oh boy, that's a good one, man, because they're that's one of the best customers you can get, guys, because they already know it's not free. Or I'm on a tight budget, I don't have any money. Those I agree with Jimmy, man. Those are all those. I already have life insurance. What's it going to cost me? And I'm broke. Those are all big buying signs. Those are going to be some of the, if you learn how to work those to your favor, those will be some of your best clients right there. Let's see, I think we got a time for a few more. I know we're on a tight schedule, guys. We've got to sign off here. We'll cover this one and then we'll get going, Jimmy. How about getting in the house? What's your strategy? You want to get in the house now, or are you trying to book an appointment for later?
I have a little different approach. So normally when I introduce myself to them, I'm introducing them with the card, and then with the lead, and then I'm also presenting them my business card, right?
Okay.
And I tell them that I'm in the area visiting another client, and that I wanted to stop by, introduce myself, and see when would be a good time that I can provide that information for them. Here's the funny thing is that half of the time they say, well, I'm available right now. And I'll look at my watch and I'll say, yeah, I have a few minutes. This doesn't take long. May I come in? The other half, they say like, yeah, it's not a good time. And then I go for the appointment, because I'm not there like trying to force myself in like right now. But a lot of it has to do with judgment. So it just depends on how they respond to you and how their body language is. And, you can kind of read them. Sometimes I don't do that. Sometimes I just ask to come in right now. But, I'm flexible. But if they reject me like right now, then I'll just say, yeah, I'm just, like as I mentioned, I'm in the air to see somebody else. When would be the best time to stop by and share this with you and your spouse? And I always try to do what's the best time to catch them both together. But that's the way I do it, Joe. Now, the other thing I'll say this is that there's a lot of homes that maybe I don't know how to describe this. Maybe they look a little messy, right? And you can kind of get the vibe from people that they really don't want to open their doors so you can see into the house. And those people, it's not that they don't want the information, is that they're embarrassed for you to go into their house, right? Because it's a mess. And so if I get that vibe from people, I say, look, we don't need to go inside the house. We can do this right here on the porch. Let me just share, the information that you requested. And I can tell you, I've written many policies out on the front porch, never even been in the house.
Yeah.
I had one lady in particular that she never opened the door. We did everything through the screen door, and it
That's
was dark.
hilarious, dude.
I couldn't even see her face, right? And I did the whole thing through the door, and it wasn't until time to sign that she opened the screen door like a crack for me to slip the action.
Dude,
So,
that's ridiculous. That's
but
so funny.
just be aware of stuff like that. So I mean, you don't necessarily have to. I know all the experts say not only do you need to get in the house, but you need to sit at the kitchen table. Throw that out the window. Accommodate the person.
Right.
You.
I agree, man. You sit where they're comfortable.
Yep.
Yeah, don't force it. That's old school, man. That's Tom Hopkins, Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar from 50 years ago.
Yep.
Um, things have changed. All right, guys. Well, listen, man. Been great talking to everybody. We'll do best practices part 2 next week. We'll do a continuation. Jimmy, thanks for the information, man. It was awesome.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Have a great weekend.
All right, buddy. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon. Take
All
care.
right.